So for this lesson plan, I wasn't able to actually videotape myself doing the lesson plan in a classroom because I don't work at a school. So instead, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to explain what I would have done if I wasn't actually working at a school and had someone videotape me doing this lesson. So first off, the school that I work at, I have 20 first graders in it. 3 of them are English learner students. 1 came from Puerto Rico and only knows Spanish. 1 of them came from Germany and only knows German. And lastly, 1 came from Cuba and only knows Spanish. It is extremely hard to communicate with all of them since they do not know any English at all. I am working with them daily to teach them some English so that they can speak with me and the other students. Also, I do have 1 child with special needs, and that child is gifted. First off, my 1 student who is from Puerto Rico, her name is Yvonne. She is a pre-production level ELL student from Puerto Rico. Her L1 is Spanish, and she has basic L1 literacy. She is LOTE student due to interrupted schooling. Yvonne responds non-verbally and displays very limited comprehension of the language when spoken. She observes the language of her peers and relies heavily on pictures and objects to comprehend and to communicate. My second ELL student is Alexander. He is an advanced fluency level ELL student who is from Munich, Germany. His L1 is German. He is 1 grade level below L2. Alexander produces language that is comparable to that of native speaker. He is able to actively participate in all areas of instruction and to use academic language to he is also able to use multiple strategies to construct meaning from print. My third ELL student is Alberto. He is a speech emergence level ELL student who was born in Cuba. His L1 is Spanish. He has no fluency in L1. Alberto is beginning to participate in everyday conversations about familiar topics. Although his language production may not be grammatically correct, he begins to produce longer and more complete phrases using known high-frequency words. The error that he makes, both receptive and productive, often interfere with comprehension. And lastly, my student who is gifted, his name is Victor. Victor is an intermediate fluency level ELL student who is from Cali, Colombia. His L1 is Spanish, and he has above grade level gifted literacy in his L1. Victor engages in ordinary conversations and uses more complex phrases and sentences. Most of the errors that are made do not hinder his comprehension. Victor participates in literacy activities in the classroom and uses strategies to construct meaning from the printed page. Like I said, I only have 1 ESE gifted student in my class, and that's Victor. He's an ESE gifted student with no 504 plan or IEP. He has above grade level gifted literacy in his L1. Some accommodations include enrichment and enhancement activities should be available for Victor to work on. If he finishes his assignments early, these should include visual, interactive, and cooperative learning activities such as flowcharts, maps, charts, graphs, pictures, semantic webbing, T-charts, Venn diagrams, timelines, etc., etc. Basically, anything that's visual is what Victor needs. Beginning in first grade, the students should know how to add and subtract numbers. They also should be able to read different kinds of books. These are the standards for first graders that by the end of first grade, students should understand and use the concepts of ones and tens in the place value number system. They add and subtract small numbers with ease. They measure with simple units and locate objects in space. They describe data and analyze and solve simple problem solutions. And also there's tons of TES OL National Standards. I'm not going to go over all of them because there's like 5 standards and there's a lot to them. So next I have that I would, yeah, there's a lot of standards. So there's a lot of goals and standards. So for my lesson, it's all about math. I love math, so my goal for the math lesson is for that all students be able to understand how math works. I want them to be able to add and subtract all different kinds of numbers, and of how to do word problems is a big one that a lot of first graders need help with. My object for my first graders is I want them to be able to understand, count, read, write, and use numbers up to 100. Students demonstrate the meaning of addition and subtraction and use these operations to solve problems. Students use estimation strategies in computation and problem solving that involve numbers that use the ones, tens, and hundredth places. They make reasonable estimates when comparing larger or smaller numbers. About 80% of my students will be able to do this at the end of the year. Yvonne is one of my ELL students. She's an L1. She's a pre-production. She identifies words associated with symbols for addition, subtraction, or multiplication with a partner, is how she would improve the use of English. Alberto is my L3 speech emergent student. He selects and organizes by operation equivalent phrases or sentences in illustrated story problems with a partner. Victor is my L4 intermediate fluency. He will arrange sentences in logical order to create illustrated story problems with a partner. And lastly, Alexander is my L5. He's advanced fluency. He will analyze extended text to find clues for problem solving. Example, there are 6 red balls and 2 green balls. How many balls are there in all? The procedures I will use with my students will be, I would use a marker board and do example problems with the students. I would also use different websites that have great examples of math problems that we are working on for that day. For my ELL students, I will specifically sit down with them, maybe during free time, and go over their numbers with them and try to get them to say them to me in English for me. With going over the numbers and having them say them back to me, by the end of the year they should be able to say their numbers in English. So I'm going to start my lesson with my intro. My intro would be, hey children, are you excited to learn today? We are going to learn about using addition and subtraction within 20 to solve word problems involving situations of adding to, taking from, putting together, taking apart, and comparing with unknowns in all positions. Some examples we would use are by using objects, drawings, and equations with a symbol for the unknown number to represent the problem. Can I please have a volunteer to come up to the board and show me how to solve this word problem? Jane has 9 balls. 6 are green and the rest are blue. How many balloons are blue? The student says 3. Are you sure that there is 3 blue balls? How do you know there are 3 blue balls left? And that's when my child would explain to me that, well, we had 9 balls. Well, 6 of them are green and the rest are blue. So 6, and you add 3 more, or to get up to 9 you would have 3. So that's how we would have 3 blue balloons left. We are now going to get into groups, and I will give you all a worksheet, and you can work together on this worksheet. Then we will get back together, and each group will come to the board and show the class how to solve each word problem. I will be going around the class and looking at how you guys are doing on the word problem. You as the children will be trying to answer all the word problems correct. If you get all 5 word problems right, you get a special gift. Children are working on the assignments, and I'm walking around checking them, seeing if they're doing it all correctly. Now let's get back together and one group at a time come up here and show the class how you solved the one word problem that I asked you guys to show the class. Some questions I will ask each group is, how did you get that answer? Can you explain to me how you got it? Why did you get that answer? Tell me why you got it. You all did a great job on these word problems. Every single one of you got them all correct, and you all get a special gift. I believe that some difficulties as children might have had in doing these word problems is that the child might not be able to talk good or cannot communicate with the class. For example, like my ELL students will have a very hard time doing these word problems because, first off, they do not know any English. So they won't be able to read or talk with their partners and stuff. But as a teacher, I will have the child go up with the group and still try to answer my questions and describe the word problems, and I will ask them the same questions as I did with the other groups. Being a teacher, you cannot single out a child even if they do not know any English. Some strategies I would use is to keep practicing with the children who cannot talk nor need help. Practice is the only thing you can really do to help a student who is struggling. And lastly, I could extend this lesson by, instead of doing the lessons once a day, I could enrich them to do it twice a day so that instead of them learning it once, they will be able to learn it twice. So once again, I wasn't able to videotape all my lesson or any of my lesson plan because of not working in a class. So I hope that with me being able to just explain my lesson plan was all right for you. So thank you for letting me do my lesson plan.